open the meeting and ask you to please rise for the arrival of Excellency the Governor. I now welcome His Excellency the Governor and his entourage to this solemn meeting, which has been convened to commemorate the 15th anniversary of the attainment of St. Martin's constitutional status as a constituent country within of the Netherlands. On Friday, October the 10th this year, St. Martin marked its 15th anniversary attainment of the status of constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, making St. Martin one of the 4 countries within the Kingdom. It is on that day, October the 10th, 2010, 15 years ago, that the Parliament of St. Martin came into existence. It is aforementioned in mind that this meeting was convened today, October the 13th, 2025, which is the official day in celebration of our Constitution Day. Today, we are to have several speakers who will reflect on the 15 years of country status for St. Martin. And at this time, I would invite Mr. Ralph Cantav, the 2015 President of Parliament Award recipient, for his presentation.
I wondered which generation experienced the best of St. Martin. There was a generation that was blessed to a pure, unspoiled land before it became exploited. That unspoiled nature was short-lived as colonizers arrived on our white beaches with munition power to pillage our natural resources. And for the following generations, it was suffocating, as they grew up not knowing freedom among the few who knew of its power and privilege. 200 years later, the surviving generations got hold of it and celebrated it with jubilant expressions like the Parnham Dance. This newly freed people toiled the ground qualifications while establishing the soul of St. Martin. This was no easy task. As economic pressures mounted, many families boarded the Antilles ALM to nations near and far, journeying with the hope that this nation, precious land, and those left behind would be taken care of. So the generations that knew hard labor, sacrifice, gave birth to a generation that met the dollar. This generation reaped great benefits from the foreign exchange brought by tourism. But as the conveniences increased, so did the challenges, such as the cost of living, food, and energy insecurity. But over time, the soul of St. Martin became distressed, burdened. We forgot that we are our brother's keeper and that every child is a child of the village. We forgot that the natural environment deserves protection and generally for us ought to be cared for. We forgot we matter and that we are not for sale. Several generations of Martin children have grown up or are growing up unable to see the value of this country, untaught of their rightful place in it. Should we give up hope and sell what remains of this precious land? Absolutely not. 15 years since 10-10-10, the value of St. Martin has actually increased in its allure, its appeal, and development. Yet our generation was not prepared to steward and lead the course of St. Martin. But rather than lament our failures and setback, I am motivated, and I think motivated, by the future that we can build. Steel, bricks, concrete. Why? Because the aforementioned are our best assets, this which is our spine. Bricks being our education, our capacity and skills. Concrete being our faith, and the land being our very minds. It's the embrace a mindset of nation building, and secure a future that's not only resilient, but also prosperous for all. Let us invest in a foundation that is stable and secure, where every child can stand on with confidence and hope. This status is fairly new, but our soul, to St. Martin, it's mature. It is time we ensure that present and coming generations are taught to lead with knowledge, wisdom, and humility. It is time that we teach them to be producers and not consumers, to serve their country and fellow citizens with love and compassion. Let us build an environment that makes it ideal to start a family, to start a business with access to quality education, healthcare, and housing. My belief is absolute, because we have the steel, we have the concrete, and we have the land. Let's start by honoring those who committed their lives to a better nation. Persons like the late Louis John and Reinhold Groeneveld, including those among us today who consistently kept us sharp, like Joan the Valley Mate, Gaston Bell, Dr. Dern. This is but a mere fraction. Notwithstanding, public servants, community leaders, business owners, profit organizations, and the taxpayers who continue to give and want to see a difference. So I end by asking, what will you do to see that the next generation of St. Martin experiences the best of this land? Thank you, and God bless you all.
Now, it is a great pleasure to give the floor to Roshana Richardson, the 2016 of Parliament Award recipient, for her presentation. Ms. Richardson.
Filled with moments that inspire us and challenge us to the very core. We have grown amidst the complex process, learning to govern ourselves, of rebuilding disastrous and devastating storms, and learning what true progress means for all of us. We've watched leaders wrestle with difficult issues, from the GB saga, education reform, to economical survival. And in these moments, we have seen our incredible strength of communities coming together in times of crisis. Yet, among these fires, we have also felt the ache of unmet needs. Time and time again, we see our young, talented sinners leave our shores in search of better opportunities, and we feel deep within us the raw wounds of limited to quality education, mental health support, and meaningful employment, just to name a few. Many times I would hear of, Roshana, I would love to go back home, but what exactly am I coming back home to? When I do decide to apply for a job, it's either no from the establishment, you're overqualified, or you just do not have the experience needed for the job. My question to our beloved community, if we are afforded the same opportunity as those other candidates that are brought in from foreign to do the same job, how will we be able to gather the experience needed? Why can't we be given the same opportunity to prove ourselves? But guess what? Sometimes it's sad to say, to successfully make it in St. Martin, it is by whom you know. But despite goals, hope is our anchor. We believe wholeheartedly that change is possible, and we are more than ready to be craft to form that change. We envision a St. Martin where every young person has access to world-class education, not merely to pass just exams, but to discover our true purpose in life, where mental health is just not a national priority, supported by equitable care and nurturing communities, where innovation and entrepreneurship thrive, fueled by visionary policies and cutting cutting-edge digital tools, where our voices are just not heard, but these are the voices that lead, inspire, and shape our next generation. Artificial intelligence stands as a powerful ally in this pursuit. It can personalize learning, elevate public services, empower entrepreneurs, enhance disaster preparedness, and amplify the youth. But we must apply this tool with wisdom, guided by ethics, transparency, and an inclusive spirit, so that AI serves justice and equality for all. Receiving this President Award was just not an honor. It was a powerful reminder that our voices, our hopes, and our dreams do matter. Since that day, I have decided to dedicate to advocacy, service, and leadership. They say service is just not a title, but it is a vow to serve with integrity, passion, and a deep sense of responsibility. Today, I'm currently pursuing a master's in international relations and diplomacy, eager to return home better equipped to contribute meaningfully to our governance and development. As part of journey, I am studying how artificial intelligence can impact feminist policies in the Caribbean, a bridge between technology, gender equality, and a global diplomacy, in emphasizing that our potential is limitless. We must confront our uncomfortable truth of our place within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. St. Martin is just not a minor part of a bigger whole. We are proud people with a rich culture, a vibrant identity, and a shared vision for a brighter future. It is time to revise the Kingdom Charter to reflect true equality. We need more than just a symbolic representation of ministers or plenipotentiary. We need a true and embedded hope. State secretaries within the ministries in The Hague, actively shaping policies that affects one and all. This is the only way our interests truly honored and acted upon. The rise tide of youth violence, gang conflicts, drug abuse, brutal unemployment demands our urgent, compassionate response. We must create opportunities for our St. Martin people first and foremost. We must build a nation that nurtures its people, respecting our lands inherited from our ancestors, educate our professionals aligned with our economical dreams, and providing rehabilitation and community policing to heal and unify. Crime is just not an issue. It is a cry for help and a call to action. We must respond swiftly with love, strategy, and unwavering resolve. We should not be so eager to sell our property that our forefathers and great-grandparents sacrificed and passed on to us as an inheritance. Therefore, protecting generational wealth for our people, way of owning land, self-employment through business and entrepreneurship. This is what made St. Martin great. Let us return this nation back to the times where our own people own their own businesses, own homes, and own properties. We begin to instill this type of ambition, love, and passion into our children first. This must be developed through the nation building in our sweet St. Martin land by our indigenous people, as well as who have made St. Martin their home. Lastly, we must be vigilant in controlling immigration, not exclude, but to protect the integrity of our society, to give priority to our own people and safeguard our future. We aspire to establish St. Martin as a Caribbean economic hub, developing our tourism through beautification and infrastructure, exploring innovative financing, and managing growth with care and foresight. Strengthening regions is not optional, it is vital. Through cultural exchanges, trade, and shared innovation, we can forge a Caribbean that stands united, resilient, and proud on a world stage. Unity among members of Parliament and Council of Ministers is essential. Without cooperation, progress stalls, dreams are delayed, and our futures dims. We stand divided. When we stand divided, we let every opportunity slip away. But when we come together, guided by a love for our land and a collective vision, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As I conclude, these are the areas we must maintain our focus at all times. Our children, our disabled, our homeless, our youth, our unemployed, our working class, our business sector, as well as our seniors. As I conclude, let us please remember that October 10th, 2010 was more than a political milestone. It was the heartbeat of our hope, the sacred promise that St. Martin would rise from the ashes, rebuild with courage, and dream beyond the horizon. That promise ignited a fire within us, a call to action that refuses to fade. Today, that fire burns brighter than ever in the hearts of our youth, ready to carry that vow for passion and unwavering resolve. We are not merely seeking a seat at the table. We are building the table, shaping a future born of our dreams, our resilience, and our unbreakable spirit. Let us hold fast to the promise spoken in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, that says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." May this truth be the foundation of our courage, the compass of our leadership, and the heartbeat of our unity. Together, let us build a St. Martin that shines a beacon of hope, brilliant, endless possibilities. God bless the people of St. Martin, and God bless this land. I thank you.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
St. Martin, as heavy rain falls across our region, we urge all residents and visitors to exercise caution and stay alert. Here are the areas prone to street flooding, flash floods, and/or rock slides. Avoid these locations until water levels subside. Hatilage Road Roundabout, Cul-de-Sac. Arch Road, Sucker Garden, Beacon Hill Road, Simpson Bay, Ateelage Road, Border Monument, Belvedere, Lower Princess Quarter, Billy Folly Road, Coal Bay, Emma Plain, Phillipsburg, L.B. Scott Road, Cul-de-Sac, Rhine Road, Lowlands, Welhalaken Road, Low K Roundabout, Cahill, Little Bay, Well Road, Wellington Road, and Orange Grove Road, Coal Bay, Yancho Rousquin Boulevard, Point Blanche, and Sakers Gut Road, Cul-de-Sac. Remember, safety comes first. Let's work together to keep our community safe. This public service announcement is brought to you by the Department of Communication.
I'm happy, and along with me, our entire point, to have the first President of Parliament, Dr. Andis Gracita Arundel, who is our current Minister Plenipotentiary for St. Martin in The Hague, also present with us here today, virtually, of course. And it is my pleasure as well to give the floor now to Dr. Andis Gracita Arundel for her speech, reflection, and presentation. Dr. Andis Arundel, you have the floor.
For the opportunity to once again have the floor. This journey was not mine alone. Many individuals, past and present, contributed significantly, from commissioners for constitutional affairs, lieutenant governors, dedicated civil servants, the Constitutional Affairs Work Group, WGC, and sub-work groups, island councils, our schools, unions, churches, the Bankers Association, and every segment of civil society. Your contributions helped bring us to this moment. Some of these contributors are no longer with us, but their impact remains etched in our nation's constitutional story. We must also acknowledge the involvement of our partners within the kingdom, including numerous state secretaries responsible for constitutional affairs. After decades of discussions and negotiations between the Netherlands and the islands of the former Netherlands Antilles, two referenda marked by vital turning points for St. Martin. The first, held in October 14, 1994, was one I had the honor of organizing and chairing under the auspices of the United Nations. The second and decisive referendum in June 2000, led by Mr. Richard Gibson Sr., laid the foundation for the eventual dismantling of the Netherlands Antilles. Curaçao's final referendum was held on May 15, 2009. And 1 year later, October 10, 2010, the final curtain was drawn on what was once the constitutional arrangement Netherlands Antilles. I must say honestly, Chair Lady, dear radio listeners, that personally, this period was not without its challenges. At a time, being a one-member faction leader, a member of the opposition, championing principles such as good governance, transparency, and accountability, speaking truth to power, came at a cost. It was not always appreciated, but I remain steadfast and above all, grateful. These experiences made me stronger, not bitter, and more resilient, just like our beautiful island, St. Martin, bouncing back from every setback with renewed determination. It shaped my resolve to give my utmost in every task assigned to me, with a goal of making a meaningful difference for our people and our country. For this, I am grateful. Esteemed audience, on becoming the first President of Parliament, I was asked to share my personal experience as the first person to lead our Parliament and to reflect on the constitutional future of our country. This is no small task, and certainly not one that can be covered in just 8 minutes. Nevertheless, I will be as brief with the hope of sharing more in-depth reflections in writing as part of the important process of nation building. I recall vividly, at a time, I was handed a key to an empty building and expected to begin conducting the people's business. Understanding the weight of that responsibility, I knew there was little room for experimentation and no room for failure. With the support of the members of that first parliament, we worked tirelessly to lay a strong foundation, one that has carried us to where we are today. It's important to remember that that first parliament ensured that laws in various stages of its development from the Netherlands Antilles were timely adopted. Had we failed to meet these deadlines, many laws would have had to be developed from scratch. Simultaneously, we established the High Council for State, the Council of Advice, the General Audit Chamber, the Socio-Economic Council, and last but not least, the Office of the Ombudsman, an institution I had the honor of championing for our country. Recognizing the importance of preparing and connecting with future parliamentarians, the first parliament introduced, among others, the President of Parliament Youth Award. I am pleased to see that this tradition continues as it lifts and encourages our young people, our youth, to be great and exemplary future leaders.
I want to now give the floor to the Prime Minister of St. Martin, Dr. Luc Mercelina. Prime Minister, it is also my pleasure to give you the floor to address the people of St. Martin on this auspicious occasion and give us your thoughts and reflections. Prime Minister Luc Mercelina, you have the floor.
Madam Chair Lady, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as protocol has already been established, good morning. 15 years ago, on the historic day of October the 10th, 2010, the people of St. Martin embraced a new chapter, one defined by hope, responsibility, and the promise of self-determination. On that day, we became not just a country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, but a people empowered to shape our destiny. Today, 15 years later, we stand as a testament to resilience. Through hurricanes, pandemics, economic challenges, and social transformation, the spirit of St. Martin has not faltered. It has strengthened. Our journey has not been easy, but it has been purposeful. We have learned that nation building is not a destination, it is a daily commitment. It is in the policies we craft, the partnership we build, and the people we uplift. It is in the classrooms where our teachers mold young minds, in the hospital where compassion meets care, and in the hard work of every public servant, business owner, and citizen who contributes to the nation's progress. As we commemorate 15 years of country status, we must also look forward to the St. Martin we are building toward. A St. Martin that is energy secure, where we turn our natural challenges into sustainable opportunities. A St. Martin that is economically diverse, reducing vulnerability and fostering innovation. A St. Martin that is socially just, where prosperity is shared and every voice is valued. And above all, a St. Martin that stands united, not just by geography, but by purpose. Let us continue this journey with renewed determination, guided by the lesson of our past and inspired by the limitless potentials of our people. The next 15 years must be defined by courage, collaboration, and compassion, so that the promise of 10-10-10 continues to live in every generation to come. May we move forward with conviction, knowing that our greatest strength lies not in our size, but in our unity and our will to progress. St. Martin, happy 15th anniversary. Thank you very much.
SXM, your social and health insurance. SXM, your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
I understand that some may view this day, Constitutional Day, as an unimportant and perhaps even as a meaningless day. After all, a day dedicated to a document can feel abstract when you are dealing with concrete challenges. And that's an understandable sentiment. But let us shift that perspective right now. This day is not about a piece of paper. It's about the living promise that was made to ourselves, a promise that we must renew and defend every single day. This is the moment we pause to measure our progress and to resolve to do better. Because democracy is never guaranteed. It survives only when people choose to defend it. Democracy around the world is under threat, from long-established nations to young countries like ours. Conflict, oppression, and the denial of basic human rights test the strength of our institutions and the resilience of our societies. When we look globally, places like Gaza and Palestine remind us of human cost when freedom is under attack, when voices are silenced, rights are denied, and people are prevented from fully shaping their future. But these challenges extend beyond war zones. They live in gender inequality, in restrictions on youth participation, and in the marginalization of the vulnerable groups. Democracy is not merely about elections or laws. It's about ensuring that every voice counts, every person is protected, and every citizen has an opportunity to thrive. Even within the Kingdom of the Netherlands, the Council of State has recently warned that democracy is under pressure. Their reports highlight a crucial truth. When politics become about power instead of service, democracy erodes. It reminded us that the health of democracy requires respect for minorities, strong and independent institutions, and free press and leadership, grounded in integrity. These global and regional warnings are lessons we must take to heart. Democracy is fragile, and even here in St. Martin, it must be actively nurtured, strengthened, and protected. Indeed, an honest assessment of our 15 years of autonomy reveals a period characterized by turbulence and instability. In just 15 years, we have seen a destructive cycle lead to collapse of government on several occasions. This is the reality of a democracy under pressure. And it proves that the call for integrity and service over power is not abstract. It's an urgent necessity to protect the very foundation of our nation. On this Constitutional Day, we reflect on our journey as a nation and the responsibility we hold. This Parliament, only 15 years old, carries the duty to strengthen, safeguard, and uphold our democratic principles, ensuring the rights are respected, equality is advanced, and the voices of all citizens are heard, including our youth, and also prioritized, for example, through a referendum. 15 years of country. Yes, we have proven resilience through devastating national disasters, economic uncertainty, and political challenges. But at this point, resilience is no longer enough. Resilience keeps us standing. Thriving and flourishing moves us forward. It is time for our country to thrive, to climb the ladder of success for our people, to transform challenges into opportunities, and to flourish with integrity, unity, and purpose. As we pursue this vision of a flourishing St. Martin, we must also give thanks to the ones before us, to our pioneers, those who drafted the Constitution, for the status that we currently have. We are grateful for the commitment and sacrifice of every public servant who held the nation together. As I said, for St. Martin to truly thrive, we must be singular. Serve the country, give the people the best that you can, respect each other's role, and respect the trias politica. Discussions are necessary, but I believe that at this point, all noses should point in the same direction. Not because we always will agree on the method, but because our shared goal is absolutely clear: a stronger, fairer, and more prosperous St. Martin. Integrity must remain our foundation. Democracy is sustained not only by laws alone, but by the choices and character of those entrusted to uphold it. Constitution Day is a reminder not only of our past achievements, but of the responsibility we hold today to ensure our country moves forward, flourishing, thriving, rather than merely surviving. As we celebrate this milestone, let's pause to reflect and commit. Are we creating a St. Martin that thrives and flourishes for generations to come? Are we empowering and preparing our youth, especially the ones that are studying abroad, ensuring for equality for all, and providing the space for every voice to be heard? Are we also demanding a fair and legitimate voice in the kingdom? Because I believe we must continue to advocate for structural equal reforms to address the democratic legitimacy in the Kingdom Council of Ministers, ensuring that the primary decision-making body that affects our future is truly representative of all who are affected by the policies. I conclude, we are not yet where we should be, but with the right people, with real unity, with integrity as our guide, we will reach our full potential. As I said, resilience is where we begin. Thriving and flourishing is where we choose to go. We have stood firm, and now I believe it's time to rise and build the nation we promised ourselves. May God bless our nation and may God bless the people of St. Martin.